Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to our Sunday's Talking Town. I'm, of course, your host, The Gov, looking forward to discussing, well, not looking forward to it at all, actually. I'll be honest with you. So if you like the same story regurgitated, if you want to see our true points, see previous weeks. As always, like, subscribe, and use our live chat function. We want to hear from you this afternoon. We want to get your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, all of it on the football club, on yesterday, on the wider picture, on anything and everything, really. And there's already lots of comments coming in, which we really do appreciate. And don't forget, you can hear us on all audio platforms. The show will be uploaded the moment we finish our live show. And if you're watching on Catch Up, FTA, comment for that algorithm. Before I get to the comments, don't forget we are partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you want to help save lives, of course you do, and have the chance to win £1,000 every week, again, of course you do. Play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery by playing just £1 each week. You're helping to keep their yellow helicopters flying. The East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery creates 18 winners every week with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. Over 18s only. T&Cs do apply. Links in our description. But whatever you do, please, as always, gamble responsibly. Colin said, I don't understand at all why some fans are getting on Kieran and the players' backs. We are in the toughest league in the world, and we're giving it our best shot. Come on. Up the town. Andy says we keep supporting, we keep with the boys, up or down, however tough it gets, up a town. Sharon agrees with Colin. Do you agree with Colin's point? Let us know. Andy says fans don't win points, though, which is very true. We certainly do not. However loud they may be, and they are always loud in the away section, we do not sadly win points. If we did, let's be honest, we'd be champions. Although we are top of the fine margins league by this point, I reckon. Yeah, we are champions of that by some distance, I feel, this year. Whatever you feel, get your comments in. Adi says, good afternoon, everyone. Had a great away day yesterday with the Blue Army. Town played really well. I'd say well. I wouldn't say really well. We had a great chance to get a win, but it was not to be. Joining me in this endeavour is Matthew Phillips. Good afternoon, Matthew. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How long I'm going to join you for, I don't know, because my laptop is having various pop-ups coming up, trying to restart. So if I do disappear, it's not because I've done a Maidstone meltdown and gone to make a cup of tea to come back later.
Are we in the wilderness? No, that's the question.
Yeah.
Are we in the wilderness?
You're not feeling in the wilderness right now? Well, at least look, the sun is shining, but not on our season, sadly.
No, it certainly isn't. Another case of same story, different day yesterday, right? You know, Town played well for 70, 80 minutes, create chances, right. have an XG of 2 higher than Crystal Palace, but just can't finish their dinner. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think taking out the most important stat, the winning goal from Crystal Palace away, had it actually been us, we'd have said what a great performance it had been. We'd created a lot, we had a lot of chances. I mean, you couldn't believe it when I said to you, Henderson had actually made 7 saves.
I know. I'd go to XG too.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was 7 saves and 1 block. So it was 8 shots on target, which is unheard of for Town, really. Home and away this season. So it was a good performance. And had we converted one of those and gone on 1-0, we'd have said what was perfect, almost like a smash and grab kind of 3 points. Perfect for cutting down the gap on Wolves. As it transpired, Palace win and Wolves get a point against Everton, so the gap's got even bigger. But there was certainly no lack of effort or fault from the players yesterday. It was good.
But there never is.
As you rightly said, 75, 80 minutes, good performance, but the game's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's where we're sadly lacking, really. We're not quite good enough across the 90 minutes, which is why we're most likely going to get relegated, sadly. But
we're getting relegated. It's going to take a miracle of epic proportions. Yeah. Let's be honest. Let's be real with it. Let's be as truthful as we always are on this platform. It is. You can't look at it any other way now.
No. Well, if you are needing a miracle, Martin, and it's Sunday, McKenna is the Messiah. So he could maybe conjure one up, God knows. But I mean, yeah. Do you remember McCarthy said MM doesn't stand for Merlin the Magician? I mean, even this is probably beyond Kieran's level of expert. I mean, and again, it comes back to the same conversation. This is his third full season in his first managerial job, and it happens to be in the Premier League. So I think he's doing the best he can. But look, it's been fine margins against Palace, hasn't it? 1-0 games, both very similar finishes. The Mateta one at Portman Road and then Sarr yesterday. Grating that he should move into the middle. It's hard to score that goal after because Mateta wasn't available. Eddie had been taken off, hadn't he? And Ketia had been taken off.
Had a great chance in the first half. Probably should have scored and gone 1 up.
Yeah, That was a great through ball from Wharton, but we'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, just fine lines. But let's not, sugarcoat it either. We've dropped 5 points to Southampton this season. We'd be right on the tail of Wolves at the moment and putting more pressure on them had we been better against them home and away.
But we weren't, and we're not. So
exactly. We said on this, we were chatting about on the Discord yesterday, and I remember specifically doing the show and chatting to you at the end of September. It was like September the 20th or something at St Mary's, saying we look like a bottom 3 team. And we've been in it since November, haven't we? So, I mean, we're half a year pretty much. We've been in there.
Yeah, and it's the tale of the season so far, isn't it? You know, we work really hard. We do really positive stuff inside 70 minutes, 80 minutes, almost every game. You know, there's only a few games where we've been really blown out of the water, but it's the same story. And you can go back to, did they do enough in January to correct the fact we can't finish? You know, we can't convert our chances. We haven't got that final quality. You can revisit that conversation as many times as you want. And we may do in this show, we may do in other shows. You know, you can revisit a number of things. The fine margins. We always come back to the fine margins. We're the champions of that division, because every fine margin we seem to fall down on, and it seems to be a case of that every single week. But Mike says we can nitpick at bits of yesterday's game, but facts are facts. We don't have enough quality in the squad at the job done. Plenty of endeavour, commitment, but severe lack of quality. Darren said not impossible, but it's so hard now. Colin said I can go of it, so it's not mathematically impossible. Let's not. The thing is, though, of course, that is factually true from Colin, but you still got Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea on the fixture list, Nottingham Forest up next. It is going to take turning the form guide, of which we're bottom of, upside down at this point. You know, we haven't won a game in 2025. Let's keep it real.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we've won 3 games in the whole season. So what people think we're going to do across the 10 that remain against opposition such as Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, I don't know. But look, hope springs eternal, doesn't it? Keep being optimistic if that's your way. But, you know, we have to be certain levels of credibility when we're doing a podcast. And reality is Ipswich are going to go down. But, you know, we've seen good teams come up from the Championship previously. Sheffield United and Burnley and Luton were on a great run, albeit probably surprised everyone when they got promoted against Coventry at Wembley in the playoffs. They couldn't compete at this level either. And we looked at Burnley, didn't we, when we played them in the Cup and said, that's a really good blueprint. Got a good manager, McKenna, company, that McKenna could maybe follow that blueprint a little bit. They looked fantastic on the ball. I mean, look, how many games did they even lose in that Championship season? 2, 3, wasn't many. They were in the same boat as what they are. When you look at it, couldn't score goals, conceded loads.
And you look at Burnley and you look at the teams that go down, and I said to you before we started, it feels like there's a storm of pressure on the horizon, because I think if we don't start well next year, you may see fans upset, because obviously a lot of fans have looked at the windows and said, we've recruited for the future, we'll be stronger next year. But obviously you've got to put that into practice, haven't you, really, next year? And you've got to hope you start well. It's not a given, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. You're going to go down and do a Burnley or a Sheffield United, who, by the way, 100 goals last year they conceded, and they're sitting second in the Championship, you know.
It shows you the gap between the two then, doesn't it? I mean, look, I've had some people message me and go, we could do a Luton. I can't see that. I think Luton have stuck nearly all their parachute payments into trying to get away from Kenilworth Road into a brand new stadium. Anyone who's been to Kenilworth Road will think that's a good idea.
That's not rare. That's rare though, isn't it, for a relegated side to go down and do what Luton are doing?
Yeah, I mean, Sunderland did it, didn't they? And that kind of like started off that Netflix documentary about them, didn't it? But I mean, they were just complete, you know, in disarray, weren't they, when they went down? It was just going down in a fantastic position, probably the best position they've ever been in their history. I mean, taking like, you know, silverware or anything out of the equation, financially, unbelievable footing into, and we'll be going down as one of the big boys, because we entered the Championship as a minnow, really, League One team, albeit big name, status-wise, hadn't done anything for 20 odd years, gone into the 3rd tier, get the game-changing money in, then we bounce back, but people still saw us as being a League One side coming up, albeit with a big name, and then we just shocked everyone to get to where we are now.
Absolutely shocked them, yeah.
I mean, like now, I know it's a cliche now, but it was a bonus. No one envisaged that. Do you know what I mean? But we'll be coming down from the Premier League into the Championship with the parachute payments, a really good squad, You know, obviously people are going to leave. I think Burnley lost like 5 or 6 players. I mean, 2 of them came to us. So there's going to be movement, isn't there? But there'll be players coming in as well. So I think we're in a fantastic position. You know, and the Championship won't be as strong, I think, with Leeds, Burnley, or Sheffield United coming out of it. You'll have Birmingham coming up, eyeing to look to do what we tried to do. They'll be eyeing to replicate what we did. A lot of money behind them. What they spent on that Stansfield? 15 mil in League One.
Yeah, Birmingham did. Yes, they did.
We tried to buy him for 1.5.
Yeah. You're right. You are in a strong position, but obviously you've got to keep yourself in this present time, if you like. And yesterday, it's really frustrating. Yesterday, because obviously, if you're going to lose, it's really frustrating from the sense of you're so close, as you have been in previous weeks. You're so close to getting it right. You're so close to getting yourself over the line, but you just fall short with that quality. And you know, we're not getting blown out of the water every single week, although that, you know, that has its own comforts in the sense of if you get blown out of the water every week and you know you're not good enough, then you know you're not good enough, and that's that. It's the fact you're so close to being good enough.
Yeah, we ain't Sheffield United, are we? They were getting done like 6, 7, 8, weren't they? At Bramall Lane, seems to recall.
Embarrassing. But it comes to a point in the season, particularly at this point in the season, where almost you're really not good enough. It is what it is. You go back down, you regroup, you come back stronger. Whereas at this moment in time, it's so frustrating, so a bit more, you know, a double kick in the gut, because you're so close. You're so close to being a team that is able to compete at staying in the division, and you know what that brings in riches, in players, in consolidation, etc., etc. That it's twice as difficult. Because yesterday, you know, you say we look like a bottom 3 side back in September and such forth. As Dubchev said it, you know, if we are bottom 3 side, what did Palace look like yesterday? Because we really did match them for 70 minutes. But again, we've walked away without a single point. And I'm so frustrated, Matt. I guess you can probably hear it in my voice. And
well, I think Palace were under par yesterday. Obviously, Mateta isn't playing. Certainly, I watched Gladstone loads when he was Frankfurt manager. He must have done 100 games at Frankfurt. I must have watched at least half of those, I would say. And they was always like a really good functional passing side. I mean, Palace were very sloppy in their passing stats. And even Ipswich's passing stats was below par yesterday. I mean, Ambrose said they're both in mid-70s here. You'd expect them to be high 80s. So, I mean, both kind of let... Yeah, exactly. But I mean, looking at Palace's passing stats for the season, it's sub 80% anyway, which is interesting to me. Not something I'd expect from a Glasner side, but
they were missing a few key players, though, weren't they? Will Hughes being one of them. Obviously,
he was out suspended.
Being a second.
I mean, that takes us back to what you said at the top of the show. I mean, that pass from Walton through the middle for Nketiah. Mateta would have scored that 100%. He would have scored that, and we would have been one down quite early doors, wouldn't we? But as it was a good save from Palmer. I mean, we talk about sort of. I do think we are looking better defensively now. Palmer's in goal, and I don't know whether or not that's dovetailing with Wolfenden has but come back into the side. There's an argument there to say he was man of the match yesterday. Argument there to say he was man of the match against Forest. And he certainly played a very pivotal role at Villa Park when he came on at half time. So it seems to me the defence is probably happier playing with Palmer in goal. I mean, I know there was people on Discord yesterday and various people WhatsApped me going, if only we'd had Palmer at the start of the season. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But certainly we looked better defensively yesterday. That's for certain. But the game could easily have been, you know, we could easily have gone one down inside the first couple of minutes with the Nketiah chance.
You've got a goalkeeper making saves now. You know, obviously, you had that earlier at Brighton away, for example, but that was a rare thing across a consistent stretch of games. And it's not necessarily the defence is looking stronger, but certainly you've got a goalkeeper there who's making the heroics and pulling off the saves he needs to pull off. And
he's very good.
That one-on-one was great. Get himself nice and big, did all the things you should do as a goalkeeper, and made it tough for the striker.
He's everything Chris all told us he would be. I mean, there is a question mark about some of his distribution, but fortunately hasn't led to any errors leading to goals yet.
No, and that's that bit of luck I guess you need as a player. You know, sometimes you don't get lucky, as Muric didn't earlier in the season with those type of things, whereas he is getting lucky, and it is lucky at times, you know, because it is a real tight situation and it could go either way. But in terms of that through ball, that was what I was worried about with the formation. When the formation came out and the team came out, I was really worried about the 2-man midfield, large amounts of space for them both to cover, and giving players like Wharton that opportunity, that space. And inside 5 minutes, there he is. Areas of space, not a town player really around him, and a chance to pick his ball. And it's a great ball. The strikers made great movement to evade I think it's Wolfie or O'Shea or between the two of them, and we could have been a goal down, and we weren't. And that's the thing, we weren't. And we did create our own chances, but we just haven't got that desired quality that's going to.
Well, this is the problem with. This is the problem I've got with. This is the problem I've got with Phillips and Cahuste. So if you like, so Wharton yesterday, 6 created chances and opted to find that as key passes leading to an attempt on goal. And Jefferson Lerman next to him had 1. So between the two of them in that middle of the park, 7 created chances. Ipswich was 1. And even if you look at Cahuste and Calvin as a duo over the whole season, when they've been playing and starting games together, they've only created 12. Whereupon Morsey, and I know there's a question mark around Morsey and his legs now, although he played very well against Nottingham Forest, I thought. But he's created 15 chances for us this season. Obviously, our stats bear up that we haven't been able to create them. But at least maybe he's limited in, I don't know, pace or however you want to define Morsey's legs not being there anymore. At least he gets the ball into positions that allows us to have a goal scoring opportunity. And they've been very few and far between. So when Morsey's not in the side, you're reducing that even less. Just so happened yesterday, a lot of players managed to step up. I mean, the fact that Enciso came in, he had 3 created chances. Jack Clark, I didn't think played particularly well. Ditto Philogene, didn't seem to have any presence on the side. I mean, Jack Clark, albeit playing under the radar, actually created 3 chances himself. So fair play to him. I was a little bit critical in the Discord of him, but
I would have taken him off. I would not have taken him off.
Would he come off for was Broadhead in the end, wasn't he? Who I didn't think was great against Forest, particularly. The problem
and he wasn't good yesterday either. He didn't make any impact in the game.
Well, this is why Kieran hasn't gone to Broadhead for most of the season when he's been fit.
Yeah,
because you see the team get released and people go, "Oh, why is Broadhead not in there?" Well, he's obviously doing something in training that McKenna's not liking in order not to put him into the starting 11. And we have seen, to be fair, even I was critical of Jack yesterday, before I'd even done a deep dive into the stats and things. We have seen moments of him, albeit against Football League opposition, where he's looked very good. I mean, he'll be very good if he's still in a Town shirt next season, Jack Clark. He'll be very good in the Championship for us, and I imagine Philogene will be as well. But
I can't imagine either are going anywhere. I can't imagine either are going anywhere.
No, I wouldn't have thought so either. But it's very difficult, isn't it, when you want them to perform in key games when your Premier League status is at stake. But it's very interesting to me yesterday. Actually, Kieran put this out as a bit of an excuse, to be honest with you. Where he'd gone through the young players we got in the squad. So he's saying Jaden's 23, Liam's 22, Enciso's 21, Jack Clark 24, Amari 21. He said these young players, they're growing, they're developing, they're early in their Premier League careers. Yeah, we've done 70 million on them lot. What would Enciso even cost as a transfer fee, right?
Yeah.
So he knew that when he brought those players in. So I mean, maybe it was a dice roll, to be honest with you. Would they step up? Would they not? They haven't really stepped up, other than Delap, really. I wouldn't say anyone has stepped up. But Enciso and Amari, Enciso starts the game. That was a real bonus for us. He has a great presence on the pitch. Amari, when he came on, he's on the pitch. Again, a great presence. He's kind of waspish, like a Connor Chaplin. For me, Clark and Philogene just seem to go missing. For me, they just seem to be under the radar when they're playing in very key positions. So if you're not going to have any creativity from the middle of the park, as we've just said, you're going to be looking for Clark and Philogene to do something, but they just seem under the radar to me. That's my take on it. Anyway.
The stats on Morsey surprised me. If I'm honest, I didn't know those stats, and I'm surprised hearing them here for the first time, because
I would certainly say that Morsey and Taylor, and we've said this before, even though they've only played like 1 game together, 2 games together, they've got 20 created chances between them this season. I mean, I don't know, they was all in the Bournemouth game where they played very well as a duo. I don't know, but I'd like to see that more as a.
I'm surprised.
Forward. It just seems there seems to be the creativity in there. But let's not forget, we have had 8 shots on target yesterday, so we were creating. We just
next year 2 higher than Palace's, and we again, as a symptom of every game this season, it feels like the ones that haven't been blown out, or it feels like again you can't just finish. And I'm surprised at the stats, because if we are, I feel like Cahuste and Phillips are the best 2 out of the 4. The 4 aren't good enough at this level. I'll just say that now.
The options across the board. Yeah, I would agree.
They're not good enough at this level.
Yeah.
But they're the best 2, I would have said, out of the 4.
That's a ridiculous conversation, though, isn't it? When you consider Calvin Phillips, £45 million player, playing at Euros 3-4 years ago. It's ludicrous, really.
Yeah. I like Calvin. I like all 4 of them. I just feel like at this point,
Kusto was good yesterday, actually. Well, he was almost, if you look at his heat map, he's pretty much following Wharton around. I think it's best to try and curtail him. And he's been linked with Real Madrid this week, hasn't he? Adam Hall. I mean, what a journey that is. Blackburn to Palace to Real Madrid, in theory. So, but
they did well. They held their own. They held their own. You know, to the point where you're in the game, you're creating chances. They did their job.
Yeah.
Wharton had that space inside 5 minutes, but then he really never really got that much space again. And they surprised me because I feel like the formation it leaves the two in midfield, whoever that two is, exposed, leaves them with large amounts of space to cover, leaves them with too much work to do. And when they're already, you know, trying to up their game to the levels of the elite Premier League level. So I'm not a fan of it. The Discord know that. They heard that firsthand when the team news came out. But they both did well yesterday. But the stats on Morsey surprised me. I wouldn't have taken Jack Clark off because I felt like the longer the game went on, the more space he was finding himself in. And it looked like he was starting to really get into the game. And Mike D says here, Clark's ball to Enciso was terrible. Yes, it was. Awful pass.
Unfortunate. Yeah.
But, you know, you've got to be in that position to make albeit a poor pass. You know, and I just felt that as the game wore on, it was starting to get a bit more open for a Jack Clark who maybe thrives with space in front of him. And
I get that. It's a good argument. I'm sure Jack, if you gave him that ball again 100 times, he'd put that ball on a sixpence for NC. So it was just unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, look, I thought Kuste had a good game yesterday.
Yes, I like Jens Kuste. And as I said previously, if you stayed in the division, him as part of a four-man rotation would be okay. You need to buy 3 players that are, you know, a little bit better, and he would be a player off the bench, a player pushing for a start. But the 4 players I feel, Matt, Taylor, Morsey, Phillips, and Karius just aren't. They aren't at the elite level for me at this point in time. No, whatever reason that may be.
And the only reason we got Phillips in the first place is because his career's been on a bit of a slide, I suppose. Again, when you're taking a risk on young players, as Kieran said yesterday, you know, still learning and developing, you're taking a risk on Calvin, really, because he had such a disastrous West Ham loan period. I mean, his confidence was in the basement, really. And we said right at the top of the season, if there's one person who could bring that back for him, it's probably Kieran McKenna and his staff. And you know, but again, he's been kind of below. He was very unlucky for the goal yesterday. I noticed on some football apps, they said it was an error from him. I mean, he was very unlucky. He's gone in for a 50-50 ball with Kamada.
You were slating him when it happened live. You messaged me, oh, it's an assist to Calvin. That's an assist to Calvin. Well done, Calvin.
Just a joke because of the lack of the creativity stats. He was very unlucky. I mean, that ball could have gone anywhere, couldn't it? Could have ballooned off, back into their half. As it is, it goes right through the gap. Leaves Greaves exposed, and so is able to dink it over.
Story of town season. If that ball's going to fall anywhere, it's going to fall right in the path of the centre forward who is
kind of the story of Calvin's. Kind of the story of Calvin's years since he left Leeds, really, doesn't it? I mean, that ball could have gone anywhere. Not got an assist all season, I don't think. He sets up the Palace winner. Unbelievable, isn't it? But he didn't really deserve that, to be honest with you. And now the running pink's gone as well, hasn't it? Undefeated in that strip.
It had to go at some point, and it had to go this year. And on Jayden, that speaks to the recruitment for me, because that is another player where you're signing a player of a certain age with all the attributes in the world, with lots of room to grow. And again, lends itself into the conversation about next year and the pressure in the sense of people think, okay, we signed a player that perhaps isn't ready for this at this level this year yet, but next year will be a top championship player. And maybe, again, bring up that recruitment conversation in January. You know, was it stick to the plan at all costs, or could you have deviated? Because we were closer to Wolves in January. Could you have deviated maybe and gone for a little bit more Premier League ready player and tried to get yourself over the line and revisited a Jayden Philogene perhaps in the summer next year or whatever? Who knows? They didn't deviate, it feels like, from their recruitment strategy of buying certain players of an age with the attributes they want to progress. And we are where we are, and now we're further away from Wolves than where I think January ended. So, you know, we didn't do enough in January. We didn't do enough in January. Full stop. But for the present time, we can all sit here and wax lyrical about, oh, we did this for the club. The club's in a healthy position moving forward if we go down. Yeah, it is. Brilliant. But for the right now, they arguably did not do enough. Ben Godfrey can't get near a team. And if he does, you can put your own opinions on the performance of his displays.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one signing that hasn't panned out. Alex Palmer's been a home run, but they were solving an issue that you could argue created themselves.
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we'll give them credit for it, but not too much credit. Jaden Philogene will be a good player, just isn't right now in the sense of a Premier League level ability. And who else did they sign? In Ciso, who has been injured, who looked good yesterday but has been injured. So you can't really sort of comment or speak into that at this moment in time. And that was it. They didn't sign a striker. 2 windows running, didn't sign a striker. And yesterday, you arguably could have really done with that third striker, Matt, because I'm still spitting feathers at the lap being taken off on 83 minutes. A goal down. I'm spitting.
McKenna, yeah, that was baffling.
That sits in my craw. That really does.
Yeah. I mean, again, East England Daily Times will tell you what they're having for their lunch at Selhurst Park. Yeah, the questions that we actually want answered as fans: why did the lap come off at 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go, wherever it was? Not a dicky bird.
It annoys me. It annoys me more than it should do, but it annoys me. It really does. Like,
yeah,
a goal down. This is where I'm really upset with it. It almost feels like we are going down with a whimper. We're 6 points away from Wolves.
Oh yeah, Martin's been discovering descriptive adjectives overnight. Everybody, there's been whimper, limping. What else is there?
Well, it does, doesn't it? You know, like if we stuck 4 strikers on, I know we haven't got 4 strikers. Stuck 4 strikers on, lost 8-0. You could console yourself with we went for it. But last week you could argue, you know, did we leave enough on the field to go for it? And this week, particularly this week, Matt, a goal down, whatever you're planning with Liam Delap has to change because you're a goal down. You know, there is no more, there's 10 more games, but you're running out of time. And if Wolves have gone on to beat Everton last night, they didn't, they got a point. You're a million miles away for all it counts. Yeah. Like, go down swinging, stick on Hurst with Delap. You don't play until next week. Sit Delap during the week if you have to. I know he's knackered. I know he's probably in the red zone, but, you know, swear word here. The red zone, because the red zone don't matter, the points do. That's where I'm at with that. No. I totally agree with you. I'm totally baffled. I do think the local media have given McKenna and Ashton a bit of a free ride, really, on not getting a striker in across. Well, obviously got Delap in, but a follow-up striker across 2 windows. When we know they were putting in money for Latte Laf, Ioannidis, to name but 2. They're the 2 we know about. Take me back to the summer where it was all, you know, here we go. I need this from Greece. Oh, that's
exciting times. And they've given them a free ride because actually, what was the sticking plaster to them not getting either of those players over? Ali Al-Hamidi, who'd started the year in League 2 for crying out loud, and now he's finishing the season on loan at Stoke. So he was never the answer, was he? So they've been given a real free ride there, I think. And why the media wouldn't have asked that question, God only knows. Because with my journalistic qualification hat on, that'd be one of the key questions I'd be asking. I can only presume they're told not to, and they will toe the
won't be.
Club
they just don't. They do. I don't know. I don't know.
It seems unfathomable to me as a journalist. You wouldn't answer that. You'd ask that question. You surely would ask that question. But there we go. We haven't got the forum here to do that. Therefore, we have to debate it. But yes, when you certainly consider that Delap, I don't think Tuchel's announced his England squad yet. Is that this week? He could well feature in that because I think Solanke's going to be out injured. It's a question mark over Kane, I think, in Germany at the moment. So he could well feature. He could well feature that England squad. And then taking someone who's England ready for the upcoming internationals off at 1-0 down. Yeah. Unless he had knock that we don't know about. I mean, there's always that kind of variable, isn't there? But it wasn't mentioned, I don't think.
No.
But we know he gets taken off all the time anyway.
Well, we know he generally is, you know, sort of hooked at 80, whatever minutes it feels like, doesn't it? And we were positive with the changes yesterday to start off with. You know, we were the first team to make the double swap. Whether I agree with taking Clark off or not, you know, whatever. Regardless, you made that swap. Yeah. You went with it. But it just feels like I always feel like this comes back to the let's start throwing some punches, and I don't mean actual physical punches. I mean, let's start throwing bodies forward. Let's start throwing balls into the box. Let's start committing men forward in the sense of 2 strikers. You can't play 3 because you haven't got 3, but 2 strikers, you know, take off a centre half. Really, particularly in that dying embers of the game, you've got 8 minutes effectively to rescue a point. A point is better than nothing. It chips away at that Wolves total. You know, if you walk away yesterday with a point, and they get their point at Everton, it cancels each other out. If they lose at Everton, you're chipping away at it.
Yeah.
But we don't. We stick with plan A. You know, we sit down Leif Davis. We leave Leif Davis on. We sit down Connor Townsend. Yeah, okay, that's good because obviously Leif is a prime creator. But back to the lap, you have to. For me, unless he's injured, I don't know he was or he wasn't. You have to leave him on. You have to because you're chasing a goal, and even if he's not moving as freely because he's really tired. His presence alone is an occupation that the defenders have to contend with.
They're going to get a couple of weeks off soon anyway, aren't they? Because we've got the international break upcoming. Then it's the FA Cup 6 rounds. Obviously, we're not featuring in that. So I think there's a gap in games until we go to Bournemouth on April the 2nd now, isn't it? It's moved to the Wednesday, that one. And then obviously Wolves on the Saturday. Yeah, it's just kind of baffling, really. I mean, look, another quote from McKenna yesterday saying, look, we're going to keep working to turn the margins in our favour. That to me suggests he's just going to keep doing the plan A because he's done it all season, hasn't he? He keeps doing the same things over and over.
Talking of margins, another one yesterday, set pieces. I've sounded this alarm since September, and I've been on it every week.
If you've been watching us since the start of the Premier League campaign, Martin has said this all season. Actually, Mike D made a very good point in Discord yesterday. The guy they brought in, Hudson, defensive free kick coach at Sheffield United. As we said earlier, went down with 100+ goals in the conceded. Odd, very odd. Yeah, I mean, they even said on the World feed yesterday, didn't they? Ipswich have scored 5. We've kind of ummed and ahed what this stat is, but they said it on Peacock yesterday. It's 5 goals from set pieces, which they said was a meagre tally compared to Palace.
Tally. It is
13 for Palace.
We introduced a little bit something different in our corners yesterday with our movement in the box, which I noticed, which was good. Delivery again is poor. Did Jack Clark take a corner yesterday?
I'm not sure, actually. Enciso was on one. Certainly Enciso was on one, I seem to recall. I don't know.
This goes back to what annoys me again is you found something, albeit once, that worked. Jack Clark delivered a peach of a corner in a pressure situation, game on the line, last minute. Peach of a corner. We haven't gone back to it once.
It helped that Wolves didn't defend it either. But yeah, it was a great ball in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, odd. Yeah, very odd. Yeah, very odd.
But we haven't gone back to it once. Not once have we said, that worked. Let's see if that works again.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that one. But I mean, certainly, like we've said before on the show, like when McKenna come in, he said, look, if we ain't going to score from like corners, for example, it's going to be very difficult to get out of League One. And he was able to solve that conundrum. Yet we've not been able to where we've been a little bit toothless up front in real time. When you've got like set pieces, like a corner, a free kick, or even something like that, suddenly you started seeing the Couste long throws come back again, isn't it? Even that's been started going into the box. People started referencing it. I was like, I don't recall this earlier in the season or whatever, but we just don't make enough of those. We just don't make enough of those chances, do we? And that's why our goals for is not even goal per game.
No, it's poor. It's another fine margin which a promoted side has to get right, because if you're not going to have the quality in your squad depth and you are up, facing an uphill battle, it's a margin that you've got to get right, and we don't. 5 goals is not good enough. And obviously Man United, we conceded 2 set pieces. That's what overall did us at Old Trafford. It's
the scramble on the line yesterday, Martin, from a corner? There's a scramble on the line.
Yes,
they cleared it.
There was. We nearly got sick. Yeah, that was good. That was when it works. You could argue the ball in the box is never good enough, but again, shuffle around the squad until you find someone who can consistently deliver a ball into the 6-yard box on a dime.
It was O'Shea's header, I think, wasn't it? It would have been very similar to the Hurst goal, wouldn't it? At the City Ground in the week. It was very, very similar, but it didn't go in, did it? So,
and the Jens Karius long throws are starting to feel like the Jonas Knudsen long throws, where you sit there and you think, do we actually work on these? Like, do we actually practice him launching it into the box and getting players around him? Yeah, I love a long throw. But do you remember when we had Jonas Knudsen, he had a long throw, and it always felt like we just threw it in with no real plan. Like
the Knudsen long throw was overrated, I feel. Well, did we score one goal from that?
But it always felt like there was no plan around it, and it's starting to feel like that with Jens long throw. Like, just chuck it in their general direction. We'll just see what lands. Like,
why is Liam not sort of like got the long throw gene off his dad? I find that hard to believe. He's in his legs, I suppose, like tree trunks, aren't they?
Oh, he's a great player. I'm going to enjoy watching him in the last couple of months of the season, just because he is going to be a real top player. He's got to improve his final decision at times, has Liam. But he's got all the attributes, and he's really growing as the season goes. And I don't think anyone saw it coming. And that's the beauty of football. Sometimes you sign a player, you hum and ha, you discuss the fee, you discuss how good of a season it might be, but then you see a player emerge like he has, and it's been a real pleasure to see him emerge. Yeah,
he signed at the same time as Greaves, didn't he? Greaves was the hype. Delap was like, oh man, this Delap's coming in. He could play for England. And I was like, really? Let's hope Ipswich have better success at replacing him for next season than they have at getting him a foil to take the pressure off him, because they've failed miserably in that this season.
We had badly. I thought Ben Johnson had a good cameo yesterday. You know,
he was really good on the City ground as well, wasn't he? Played very well.
Yeah, I can't understand. I don't understand why. I understand why he wasn't in the team because of the formation change. But I don't know why you would leave him out at this point. Like he played well against Forest. Wolfie played well against Nottingham Forest.
I'd play Johnson over Philogene, to be honest with you. What does everyone in the comments think of that? He just looks like he wants to be there for one thing, and also gives you a bit more of an attacking threat, I feel. But I didn't think he had much of an attacking threat, so that shows you how much I've viewed turned over the last month.
Well, and also you've got so few players in form. Play the ones that are in form.
I totally agree with you. And then that comes back down to Kieran constantly tinkering, the constant 4 or 5 changes or whatever it is. But yeah, I thought Johnson was. I mean, that's just typical of Kieran though this season, isn't it? You take a player out of the firing line who's played really well in the game before, like he did with Jack Clark at Coventry, then don't start at Villa. And then Johnson's probably arguably man of the match alongside Wolfenden at the City ground. He don't start yesterday. I just find it really weird
because the formation changed, and obviously you would go with O'Shea at right back as he did, and the formation changed. Then he brought Johnson on, slightly further forward. I can see the reasons why. I just think you have to find a way sometimes to play.
If Philogene was kind of playing in that kind of right wing backing role yesterday, well, that's more Johnson, right?
But he wasn't, though, was he? Sure. He wasn't. He was playing as a right winger in the Burns role. He, further forward, high up the pitch.
But there were certainly moments when he was getting back into a right back position because
it's football, man. Players get up and down the field. You don't just stand in a square and say, "Right, manager said I was here on the whiteboard. I ain't moving." Like it is football.
Yeah, I just feel like so in an away game where you feel like you're going to be under pressure against a good mid-table side in Palace, it just would have lent itself to Johnson over Philogene for me. But there we go. But then Philogene away from home scores 2 goals at Old Trafford.
One was a gift. One was a gift. But yeah,
they both were really. But at least he had the presence of mind to be
quality. The second one's a quality ball in the box, and it just evades everybody as those sort of crosses can do sometimes. I'll take that. It's a piece of quality. It's a good ball. Like if Delac gets his foot to it, it's a goal. So it is a piece of quality. But the first one certainly was an absolute gift. ITFC GTV says another disappointing day at the office, but if we had Alex Palmer in the starting 11 for the entire season, we would not be in the relegation zone now, which is a big point.
We will never know. That is no right or wrong answer to that. But certainly I feel like, as we said at the top of the show, I certainly feel like the defence are much happier with him in the sticks than they are with Mewich and Bolton, I would say.
I love Alex Palmer. I think
he's really good. Yeah.
Well, he's come in, done the job, and
he has
looked good in doing it. And
he also had a moment, didn't he? We talk about games where like someone like a Jack Clark hasn't had a moment to kind of feel the love from the fans a little bit. I know he did it against Coventry, but in the cut and thrust of the Premier League. Palmer's debut in the Premier League was that Villa game. He was absolutely superb.
Yeah, and then he was robbed. How is it not in the save of the month?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Odd that, wasn't it? Odd. Yeah.
It's a terrible decision. I don't know how they come up with it.
Yeah, saved us. Won us a point.
I don't know how they come up with these decisions, but obviously, they can't have seen it because it's an amazing save. Amazing save. It's a game-changing save.
Yeah, it was. We'd have lost that. Gone in. It was right. Yeah, definitely. We'd have lost that. Yeah.
A part of the nominations. I haven't seen all the other ones that are nominated, but they must be some, Gordon Banks level of saves.
yeah. We have to go back and have a look. Yeah, very odd that doesn't feature. Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Frank joining us in a moment. There is a link in the chat if you should want to join us. Don't forget we are part of Stowmarket Osteopaths. Give Freddie a call, 01449613633. Don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call, 01449613633. Lots to talk about Davis not particularly having a great game. Yesterday, he had that one moment where he kindly laid it into the Palace. Yeah, well, if you call it a back pass, so I just called it a touch. It was a touch,
Yeah. I've been too kind there.
It was like a training ground, right? We put it into you. You take a touch and take a shot. And Another good save by Palmer. Another good save. Albeit straight at him, that one. But he still had to be big and do the right things. But I thought Davis is not...
those in, though. Lee throws those in, though, mate. And then you think back to, I don't know, own goals at, was it Leeds? Gave away the penalty in that. I mean, he has these games, doesn't he? And luckily, Palmer was there yesterday to bail him out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the thing with Leaf is he's much better faced in the opposition goal than he is his own one.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Which is why a lot of people were saying Connor Townsend to come in, but then you're going to lose. As much as I think Townsend is decent getting forward, he's not Leaf Davis getting forward, is he? That's the only thing. But I do think he's got a good delivery, and I think he's got a good set piece delivery when we talk about corners and free kicks not proving fruitful for Town. I mean, just go right back to the start of the season in the League Cup game at Wimbledon when he sticks it straight on Hamidi's head. That was against this opposition, right? But still a great ball in. Clark levels, at Molyneux levels of ball in, that was. So he has got it in his arsenal.
He has, and I haven't seen any stats in a while, but I know at some point he was up there with, big chance creation with players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I think he even featured higher than Trent at some points of the season. I haven't seen
Leaf.
Leaf. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it more recently. But he has, in terms of chance creation,
two yesterday.
I thought he had a good season, and that's why he's in the team, and that's why he's left on the field instead of Townsend brought on, because he can offer something. I thought Amari came on and did okay yesterday. Great to see him. Obviously,
he was brilliant. Considering he was probably millimeters away from a broken leg. Thank God he wasn't. Again, we talk about the presence that Philogene and Clark don't have for me. At this level, at least Amari comes on, he's on the pitch, he's going to cause problems.
I don't think he leaves, though. There's a lot of chatter on Discord yesterday about, would he or won't he sort of be here next year. I don't see him leaving in the summer. I might be wrong. I'm no ITK.
Well, you'd have to. Well, first of all, a club would want him. Secondly, Ashton and McKenna ain't going to. With McKenna still there, Ashton ain't going to let him go for less than what we paid for. So it's going to be in excess of 20 million. So his starting price would be what, 25 to 30, I would have thought, be in that kind of window. And he's under contract. Don't know. But I mean, he's only young, isn't he? I mean, McKenna said it himself, he's 21. It's great going to end coming down into the championship with us. I mean, he will be one of the standout performers in the championship next season if he stays with us.
Do you feel he's got, there is a team that has that money that will spend, has he had a good enough season that a team either coming up or that's already there would look at it and say, yeah, 25 million. I think he's had a good enough season at this level where, he's going to replicate that next year and be a key contributor, because it is a large amount of money. Even it's not massive in the Premier League, but it is, even for a team like Brentford, to go and spend 30 million on one player. They're going to want him to be a key contributor from the get-go. Has he had a good enough season to really, or would teams look at it and say, do you know what? He's had an okay first year in the Premier League, but he needs to develop further. A year in the Championship, very similar to what Somerville did when he went down with Leeds. Had a great year in the Championship, moved on to West Ham for obviously.
He's in and out of that team, though, isn't he? Somerville.
Yeah, but do you feel like the teams would say, do you know what? He needs to be in the Championship, have a really good year next year, further year on that development, and then he's going to be worth what Town perhaps are looking for him.
Year down the line, it's going to be 22, 23. So I mean, it probably makes sense for him to stay with us. I mean, with Kieran stays with us, might be a key component to that, really. But yeah, I would wonder what kind of club would look at Amari after the season. I thought maybe he'd have had a better season than what he's had. But I mean, he's scored 2 really good goals, hasn't he, against United and Chelsea. But look, the starting point for him in the Championship was one of kind of a raw talent, wasn't it? And then we were like, I'm not sure how he's going to pan out here. Some people, because we got links with Amid Diallo, didn't we, at United, who's obviously gone on to great things. People were like, oh, well, shame we didn't get him, really. And then it's kind of like Amari just grew with the season, didn't he? And he's not had that in this campaign. He's not had it at the higher level. So there's an argument there to come back into the Championship to get his stock back high again. Hopefully that'll be with us, I would say. Yeah, absolutely. Development, he's got, the sky's the limit for him. I just don't know. He'll be a standout performer, won't he? If he goes into the Championship with us, he'll be a complete standout performer, and could be doubling your money on him again, right? So,
whereas Dub Chief says, I don't think an established Premier League team would come in for Amari yet, but a newly promoted one would if we went down. I agree, but then would a newly promoted side be that Leeds, Burnley, Sheffield United, Coventry, West Brom, whoever? 30 million for one player who has got 2 goals in a team that's got relegated. So you're gonna come up and think, right, we're going to struggle. very similar to what Ipswich Town did.
But then by the same token, I was thinking this earlier, you get into kind of Dara O'Shea world, don't you? Because suddenly your career is ever going to be in this kind of, right, you're going into a team that's got promoted, and then you're leaving a team that's just got relegated to a team that's got promoted. Yeah, I would suggest to Murray would want to probably stick some roots down at 21 and just kind of develop with us at the moment, and be maybe hopefully part of a title winning campaign next season. But let's see. I mean, look, there was offers for. I thought he would go to Stuttgart in the Bundesliga in the summer. Team that had been in the Champions League, huge fan base, 55, 60,000 seater arena. They could come back in for him maybe and think he could develop there. Who knows? I'm not sure really. I hope he does stay with us because we saw what he could do in the Championship, and we want those kind of players in a blue shirt next season. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Do you remember how, obviously Hamid Horizon had that when he went to teams that got relegated?
Yeah.
Is that Dara O'Shea?
Could be. Yeah, well, could be.
He rocks up and the team gets relegated years later.
Ends up going back to Burnley.
Or Sheffield United or whoever. Colin said, I think most of these young players owe us a season. I don't think anyone owes anything, but at the very least, Gub, because we have backed them 100 all season. What do you think of Colin's comment? I'll put it on the screen. I think most of these young players owe us a season at the very least, Gub, because we have backed them 100% all season, home and away. What do you think about that? I don't think anyone owes anything in anyone in football.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, I get what Colin's saying. Yeah, in an ideal world, but this is a business. Yeah. Look, if someone comes in from Murray Hutchinson, he's going to do what's best for Murray Hutchinson. Ditto Kieran McKenna. I mean, they kept mentioning it in the game yesterday. Nearly went to Palace. That was very close, apparently, back in kind of January, February bowl accounts of that season we went up. Thank God he stayed with us. But yeah, they'll do what's best for them. Look, we're looking at it through a different lens. We're Town fans.
Yeah,
we're in our shirts on a Sunday. We're here. We'll be here. If we go down next season, we'll be there next season. No matter what division we're in, really, does it? We've all been there in League One. We'll all be there in the Championship. We'll all be there in the Premier League. That makes no difference.
Most of us.
Yeah, exactly.
But look, player careers are so short.
This is their career. This is their job. They'll do what's best for them, and if they can earn more money at somewhere else, they'll go there. And Kieran will do exactly the same. Kieran will do exactly. If you don't think that, then you're a bit naive, I think. But I get what Colin's saying there. Though. I'd like to think in an ideal world they'd want to stick with us, but football is hard. Well, look at the wages people get. It's not an ideal world, is it? It's kind of fantasy world. Really.
I don't envision a world where you go down and you get a situation perhaps Leeds had, where players are sort of not happy to stay in the Championship and sort of miss a few games in the way they had. Like, do you remember before they played us?
Yeah, but they kept hold of players, didn't they? I mean,
yeah, but I don't see that being
for one. Yeah, Ampadu, they kept Nonto, Perot. I mean, there's a plethora of players there that Leeds have kept together. Because they got the wages to be able to do so, and it's a big pool of a name. But I would imagine Ipswich being not quite as big a name as probably what Leeds is historically, even though we've won trophies and stuff. The fact what we've done with Kieran over the last couple of seasons, and like I say, the financial footing, the ownership model. I mean, all the things are there for people to either want to join the club or stay with the club. But you just can't rule out the factor of bids coming in and a chance to play in the Premier League, because all that squad right now would still want to stay in the Premier League next season.
As they should. They should be hungry. Yeah. What I was saying, I don't see anyone trying to sort of force a move away, if you like. I don't see anyone doing that. I think if nothing happens, they'll be more than delighted to play for Ipswich Town Football Club and have a good year, hopefully next year. I'm just living in the world of, as a manager, your career is much longer than a player, because as a player, what age are you going to retire? Early 30s, right? So you've only got a certain period of time to do the best you can, earn the right amount of money to set you up for your later life. And I know they earn big amounts of money, but still, you want to earn as much as you like, and you want to play as high as you like. And I don't think anyone owes anything anymore in football. Football's changed. It's not like way back when, when you...
No, exactly. I mean, certainly we feel like obviously Delap will be off, won't he? I would imagine Davis would go. I do wonder if not he would go back to Leeds, actually.
That's a possibility. Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah. There are a couple that one definite, but there are a couple maybes. But I just don't see a mass, exodus. I don't see a mass.
Sharon here. You think Sharon's coming on, mate?
Don't underestimate the power of a happy wife when deciding on future. Very correct, Fred.
They are just human after all, Sharon. You're quite right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't discount the waterfront either, as we've said previously. We've got some great delights in Ipswich.
George Nunn. As people who've watched the show, is there a brew dog coming? That could be a deciding factor. I don't know.
Probably not. All right, we'll bring Frank in. Frank, welcome in. What's your thoughts this afternoon?
Hi, Frank.
You're on mute, Frank. I don't know what you're doing.
We can't hear you.
How many times you sat in that chair, Frank, during the show? Come on.
Oh, he's muted. It's come up. There's muted.
No, Frank, we can't
leave the studio and come back in. Leave and come back in.
Sorry, Frank. Really insightful stuff from Frank there.
I feel like we could do a Frank poem today, but he maybe not as inspired after a defeat he's said before.
He only does them after victory.
Shame, isn't it?
So he only sings 3 all year.
I can get Frank back in.
Yeah, you never know. Next year, it could be a poetry book volume next year.
From Talking Town. Frank from Talking being Frank on Ipswich Town. Poems.
Yeah,
that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. All right. While we wait for Frank, anywhere else you want to visit in this podcast?
Not sure, to be honest with you. I mean, looking ahead to Forest next week.
Let's not.
We've played well against them, in 2 games, decided by penalties. The 1-0 at the City Ground was a penalty, wasn't it, Chris Wood? And then they've beaten us in the Cup on penalties. So the fact we've played very well against them in 2 games suggests I hope we can do something with them at Portman Road, but
I'm not ready to find solace in defeats just yet. After at this point, I'm feeling miserable today because you are right.
I think right. Well, I mean, they squeezed us out of the game a little bit at the City Ground in the league game there, but certainly over a couple of hours and extra time on penalties, we played well against them on the in the week. But then they're coming off beating Manchester City yesterday, aren't they? 1-0 Hudson-Odoi. So it's always the way, isn't it? Why couldn't we play them after they just got done 5-0 at Bournemouth or something? But I don't know. We'll wait and see. But
Graham says Ipswich are not relegated yet. No, not mathematically relegated yet. But if you can tell me where the 6 points are coming from, then also choose my lottery numbers. That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm just being real. And obviously Wednesday we'll do a match preview show. We'll look ahead. I'll be in a much positive frame of mind. You're right. We have played well against Forest over the last couple of games, but ultimately, we haven't won or haven't beaten them this year. Haven't even drawn with them.
Well, we've
I know we drew the league the cup game technically, but we still lost it. And we could play well next Saturday, but are we going to be walking away?
Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough?
Is the question.
Is it going to be enough? I mean.
It's the question. Matt Adi says Matt's new mug. It's not a new mug. It's not a new mug. However, you can get our mugs on our store. Our store is in our description. So go and read our description. And you can find
this is when mine was celebrating 2,000 subscribers. We'll be on over 6 now.
Yeah, so you won't get that one, Adi, because those were limited edition.
This is let me tell you, this has been fantastic in the dishwasher. Hasn't faded at all. The governor knows how to produce a mug.
Yeah, mine broke because I'm clumsy and I drop everything.
You probably broke yours 2 days after getting it.
Yeah, I drop it for an ex-goalkeeper. I drop everything. It's probably why I'm an ex, but I drop everything.
Leeds have lost. Leeds have lost today.
Frank, are you there? No, you're not there. Go, Frank. Bye, mate. Oh well, we know Frank on the show this afternoon.
That's a shame. We could have done with some Frank optimism.
We could have done. All right, we'll wrap it up there then. We're back on Wednesday for our match preview, looking ahead with positive mindsets. Leeds have lost, apparently. Yeah, okay. I mean, I kind of want, if we're going to go down, let's put if in the conversation for a minute. I kind of want Leeds not to be there.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I feel like stood at the top of the show, didn't we? Take Leeds out of there. Take
United and Burnley. Take those 3 away.
Take the parachute payment clubs out of there. Looking like they're going to go down into League One. So I would say it'd be a much weaker division next season. I mean, you'd imagine Southampton, whether or not they get Danny Rowling to go there. That's the huge rumour, isn't it? We'll go there. But, they've had a season. There's always someone worse off than yourself, isn't there? I mean, far worse than what we've been this season, even though we've given them 2 gifts in points this season. So they've got to kind of recover and put some kind of squad together. Leicester, I think, are going to get docked points when they go back into the Football League. So I think Ipswich are going to be in a very good position. Birmingham will come up, as we said earlier. We'll try to replicate what we've done in the Championship and go straight into the Premier League. Whether or not Wrexham will get in there. They've had money to spend successfully from the non-league through to the Championship potentially. See if they can be heavyweights in the division. Not sure. But I think I know a lot of people have been kind of lamenting the fact that a lot of favourites have been moved out of the side this season. Obviously, we've lost Wes through injury. Connor Chaplin didn't feature for a long time. Christian Bolton disappeared from the sticks. All that. Wolfenden disappeared in the October to Christmas. Just disappeared. Now has come back. I think you'll see the nucleus of some of the older players coming back in the Championship next season. So
yeah,
they've done
it. My phone was ringing then. Sorry, I thought
is it Frank?
No, not Frank. No, it's not. It's not anybody. Mrs. Stowmarket loves that mug, says. Well, Ailey, we'll try and sort. I mean, go to the store. There are mugs there. If you don't like the design, let me know what you want, and I'll see if we can knock something up for you.
Smoke.
But
Smoke.
Yeah, so I think your point there was probably excellent, but I wasn't listening at all because the phone was ringing and I was worried it might have been an emergency because everyone knows I'm live. So if you're phoning me,
yeah, generally this is yeah, exactly.
So I'm sure your point was brilliant, but I can't respond because I wasn't listening to a single word of it.
In a nutshell, I was saying that where people have been disappointed this season, where older faces, the nucleus of League One, Championship, promotion sides have been on the bench a little bit, you could see them back into the starting 11 next season. Basically.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're done for the day. I'm going to go and see who's phoning me and what sort of we're facing. But thank you for joining us this afternoon. Apologies if I've ranted a little bit too much, but it's good therapy. It's good to get it off your chest. I do feel better for it.
That's what the platform's for.
Yeah, absolutely. But thanks for joining us. Hit the like, subscribe. Frank says, I'm not sure what happened. I was not on mute, but no volume. That's strange. Well, Frank, as a YouTuber, you should know better. I'm joking. It's a shame you couldn't join us. But look after yourself, everybody. Take care. We'll see you Wednesday. All the best. God bless. Bye. Bye-bye.